There is a $5 box sitting in the baking aisle of every grocery store in North America that will clear 50 drain clogs without producing a single degree of heat damage to your pipes. 13 cents per treatment, no gloves required, no chlorine fumes under the cabinet, no $150 plumber visit. The drain cleaner industry generates $7 billion a year globally. The chemical product segment alone is worth $3 billion. The leading brand, Drano, has been sold continuously since 1923, over 100 years, using the same active ingredient, sodium hydroxide, Li pH 14. The strongest alkaline solution you can pour into a residential pipe system. The mineral that replaces it has a pH of 11.4, strong enough to dissolve every grease clog and every hair clog you will ever encounter. Not strong enough to corrode your pipes. It has been used for cleaning for 5,000 years. The ancient Egyptians called it Natron. You have walked past it 1,000 times. That is not an accident. The answer starts about 5,000 years ago, on the shores of a dry lake bed in the Wadi el Natron Valley, 60 miles northwest of Cairo. The Egyptians harvested a white crystalline mineral that formed naturally along the edges of evaporated alkaline lakes. They called it netjeri, the divine salt. We know it today as natron, a naturally occurring form of sodium carbonate. They used it to clean linen. They used it to purify water. They mixed it into the earliest known glass around 3000 BC, and they packed it around their dead to draw moisture from tissue during mummification, a process so effective that we can still examine those preserved remains 5 millennia later. The mineral pulled water out of organic matter through osmotic pressure, while its alkaline chemistry broke down oils and fats on contact. Britannica identifies natron deposits across Egypt, Kenya, Botswana, and the Lake Chad Basin. The cleaning applications were documented across the entire ancient Mediterranean. The Romans adopted it in the 1st century. They used soda ash for baking bread, for making glass, and for medicine. The same compound, the same chemistry, different empire. By the Middle Ages, European soap makers were importing soda ash from coastal plant ashes, called barilla, because they understood what it did to grease. They did not call it saponification. They called it soap making. The chemistry was already proven. The vocabulary caught up later. Here is why it works. Sodium carbonate dissolved in water produces a moderately alkaline solution, pH 11 to 11.5. At that pH, two things happen simultaneously. Fatty acids from cooking oil, skin oil, and soap residue undergo saponification. The alkaline solution converts grease into a water-soluble soap. The grease dissolves. At the same time, keratin, the protein that makes up human hair, begins to denature. The molecular bonds that hold hair fibers together weaken and separate. The hair mat breaks apart. These are the same two mechanisms that sodium hydroxide uses at pH 14. The difference is the margin. pH 14 corrodes PVC pipe joints, degrades rubber seals, and generates heat through an exothermic reaction with aluminum flakes packed into the same bottle. pH 11.4 triggers saponification and keratin breakdown without crossing the threshold that damages standard schedule 40 residential plumbing. The chemistry does not negotiate. It does not need pH 14. It needs enough alkalinity to trigger saponification. 11.4 is enough. It has been enough for 5,000 years. And here is where it gets interesting. That 5,000-year-old mineral is not sitting in a museum. It is sitting in a 50-million-year-old deposit underneath southwestern Wyoming. The Green River Basin contains the largest trona deposit on Earth, 100 billion metric tons. Trona is the mineral ore from which sodium carbonate is refined. The deposit formed 50 million years ago when a massive inland lake evaporated during the Eocene epoch, leaving layer after layer of crystallized mineral between beds of sandstone and shale. At the current rate of mining, the Wyoming Mining Association estimates those reserves will last over 2,000 years. Commercial mining began in 1947. Today, Wyoming Trona supplies roughly 90% of all soda ash produced in the United States. That soda ash goes into glass manufacturing, detergent production, water treatment, and baking soda. But here's the part that should bother you. A 3-pound box of Arm & Hammer superwashing soda, which is refined sodium carbonate from that same trona ore, costs $4.99 at Walmart. That box makes enough drain cleaner for approximately 50 treatments. One bottle of Drano Max gel costs $6.99. It treats 1 clog, maybe 2 if you stretch it. 50 clogs at 10 cents each versus 1 clog at $7. The math is not ambiguous. The average American household deals with 4 to 6 drain clogs per year. At $7 per bottle, that is $28 to $42 annually on a product that contains an ingredient plumbing professionals actively warn against using. Over a 10-year period in the same house, that is $280 to $420 on drain chemicals alone. Add 2 plumber visits over that decade at $242 each, and the average household spends between $760 and $900 on drain problems in 10 years. A single batch of clog powder costs $12.76 and covers 2 to 3 years of both emergency clogs and monthly maintenance. 3 batches over a decade, $38 total. The gap is not subtle. The drain cleaner chemical product market is worth $3 billion. Drano alone has been generating revenue for SC Johnson for over a century, backed by an $11.2 billion parent company. A $5 box of mineral that lasts 2 years under your sink is not a product any of them would prefer you discover. Why does every hardware store stock Drano at eye level and washing soda in the baking aisle 3 feet away on a bottom shelf? Why does every DIY drain cleaner recipe on the internet call for baking soda, pH 8.3, instead of washing soda, pH 11.4, guaranteeing that the recipe fails and the viewer goes back to the orange bottle? Why has a 5,000-year-old cleaning mineral with a 50 million year supply never appeared in a single drain cleaner commercial? You already know the answer. Stay with me. Here is the full recipe, the exact shopping list, and the one mistake that ruins 90% of attempts. Here is everything you need. No substitutions. Arm & Hammer superwashing soda, 3-pound box, 55 ounces. Available at Walmart, Target, Kroger, Home Depot. $4.99. Arm & Hammer baking soda, 4-pound bag, any grocery store. $3.49. Coarse pickling salt or kosher salt, 1-pound bag, $1.29. White distilled vinegar, 1-gallon jug, $2.99. Total cost $12.76. That makes enough dry clog powder for approximately 50 treatments and enough vinegar for 16 heavy-duty applications. 50 clogs for under $13. The equivalent of $350 worth of Drano. Store the dry components separately or pre-mix the powder. The mixture is shelf-stable indefinitely in a sealed container. A mason jar under the sink. No expiration, no potency loss. You make this once, and it will be sitting there 2 years from now, still full and still working. For those on a septic system, this is especially important. Chemical drain cleaners like Drano kill the anaerobic bacteria in your septic tank that break down solid waste. Washing soda at pH 11.4 does not. It neutralizes in the drain line long before it reaches the tank. If you are on a well and septic, this is not just cheaper. It is the only drain maintenance option that does not compromise your entire waste system. Now here is the recipe. Step 1. Measure half a cup of washing soda, half a cup of baking soda, and a quarter cup of coarse salt. Combine in a dry bowl and mix thoroughly. This is your base clog powder. Step 2. Pour the entire dry mixture directly into the drain. Do not add water first. The dry powder needs to make contact with the clog material before dissolving. Step 3. Slowly pour 1 cup of boiling water directly onto the powder in the drain. You will hear a faint fizzing. That is the baking soda component reacting with residual acids in the buildup. The washing soda is doing the real work, saponifying grease and breaking down keratin at pH 11. Step 4. Walk away. Let the solution sit completely undisturbed for a minimum of 20 minutes. 30 is better. Do not run any water. Do not test it. The alkaline solution needs sustained contact time to fully penetrate the clog matrix. Step 5. After 20 to 30 minutes, flush with 1 full kettle of boiling water, approximately 1 liter. Follow immediately with 60 seconds of hot tap water at full pressure. For a standard grease or hair clog, that is the entire process. 1 application, 20 minutes of wait time, no fumes, no heat damage, no gloves. Now here's the part that most people get wrong, and it is the reason most homemade drain cleaner recipes fail. They use baking soda instead of washing soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, pH 8.3. Washing soda is sodium carbonate, pH 11.4. They look identical on the shelf. They are in the same aisle. They are made by the same company. But baking soda at pH 8.3 does not have enough alkalinity to saponify grease or denature hair protein. It is a cleaning booster, not a drain cleaner. People try it once, nothing happens, and they go right back to the orange bottle. That confusion is worth billions. For a full standing water clog where nothing is draining at all, add one step between the dry powder and the boiling water. Remove as much standing water as you can first, a cup or a small container. You do not need to get it perfectly dry. You just need the powder to reach the clog surface without dissolving in 4 inches of cold water. After pouring the dry mixture into the drain, pour a 1/4 cup of white distilled vinegar directly onto the powder. You will see aggressive fizzing. That is carbon dioxide gas being released from the acid-base reaction between the vinegar and the baking soda component. The gas pressure physically expands inside the clog, fracturing the debris mat from the inside, while the alkaline solution penetrates it chemically. Dual mechanism, physical fracture plus chemical dissolution, the same principle used in industrial pipe descaling operations. Your version costs 13 cents, wait 10 minutes. Then flush with 1 full kettle of boiling water followed by 60 seconds of hot tap water. If the clog does not clear on the first attempt, repeat once. If 2 applications do not clear it, the obstruction is likely mechanical, not organic, and you need a drain snake, not chemistry. For ongoing maintenance that prevents clogs from ever forming in the first place, do this once a month. Pour a 1/4 cup of the dry powder down every drain in the house. Kitchen sink, both bathrooms, laundry, basement floor drain if you have one. Follow each with 1 cup of hot tap water, not boiling, just hot tap. Let it sit for 10 minutes. Flush. That monthly routine strips the grease film and soap residue layer before it has time to accumulate into a blockage. 30 seconds per drain. 5 drains in a typical house. Under 3 minutes total. Once a month. No emergency. No orange bottle. No plumber. The average cost of a professional drain cleaning visit in the United States is $242 for standard residential service, based on over 30,000 verified service calls tracked by HomeAdvisor and Angie in 2025. Hydrojetting runs $350 to $600. With a monthly mineral flush, those calls do not happen. And here is one more application most people never connect. The same washing soda powder removes hard water calcium deposits from shower glass, chrome fixtures, and faucet heads. The white mineral film that no spray cleaner actually dissolves. A paste of washing soda and warm water on a microfiber cloth. 3 minutes of contact time, wipe clean. The alkaline solution dissolves the calcium carbonate deposit the same way it dissolves grease, through chemical conversion into a water-soluble compound. Same $5 box, same mineral. Your entire home water system, from the drain line up to the shower head, maintained by one compound that has been doing this job since before the pyramids were built. And here is the part I want to be honest about. This method handles organic clogs, grease, hair, soap buildup, food debris, and biofilm. That covers roughly 80 to 90% of all residential drain blockages. It does not clear mechanical obstructions. A child's toy lodged in a trap, tree roots in a sewer lateral, a collapsed pipe section, those require a plumber with a mechanical snake or a camera inspection. And no chemical product on any shelf, including Drano, will fix those problems either. It also works slower than sodium hydroxide. Drano at pH 14 will visibly dissolve a grease clog in 15 minutes. Washing soda at pH 11.4 needs 20 to 30 minutes of sustained contact. You are trading speed for 0 pipe damage and 0 toxic fumes. For most households, that is not a trade-off. That is common sense. One safety note. Washing soda is a skin irritant at sustained contact. If you are handling the dry powder for extended periods, wear basic kitchen gloves. Brief contact during mixing is not a concern for most people, but if you have sensitive skin, gloves are a $3 investment. That is the extent of the safety profile. Compare that to sodium hydroxide, which causes chemical burns on contact and produces chlorine gas when mixed with bleach residue already sitting in your drain. Because this channel always gives you the full picture. 5,000 years ago, on the shore of an alkaline lake in Egypt, someone figured out that a white mineral crust could strip grease from linen and purify water from a well. They did not have a chemistry degree, they did not have a pH meter. They had observation, repetition, and 5,000 years of results. That knowledge moved through the Roman Empire. It moved through medieval European soap makers who imported barilla ash across the Mediterranean. It moved through the early American chemical industry when the first trona mines opened in Green River, Wyoming in 1947. For most of modern history, this mineral was simply what people used to clean things. It was obvious. It was everywhere. It was cheap. And then, somewhere around the middle of the 20th century, a company in Racine, Wisconsin, figured out that a pH 14 solution in an orange bottle, sold 1 clog at a time for $7, was a better business model than a $5 box that lasts 2 years. The knowledge did not disappear. It just stopped being profitable to teach. The mineral stayed on the shelf. The marketing budget went to the product next to it. Now you have it back. You know what Natron is. You know where Trona comes from. You know why pH 11.4 works, and why pH 14 is overkill that damages the very pipes you are trying to protect. You know the exact recipe, the exact brands, the exact stores, and the exact cost per treatment. You now know what a $7 billion industry depends on you not knowing. If this saved you money, send it to one person in your life who is still buying drain cleaner, not your whole contact list. One person, the one who calls you every time their sink backs up. Knowledge like this does not disappear on its own. It gets buried. This channel digs it back up. If that is the kind of content you want to see more of, subscribe. New systems decoded every week. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.